Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another video here at Slippy Slides. So in this one we'll be taking a look at what is out of bounds on the Streets of Rage games by slipping out behind the scenes. And first of all we're going to be taking a look at the classic Streets of Rage 1 and 2 and then move on to the latest in the series, Streets of Rage 4. Now the problem is on the original Streets of Rage games there literally is no out of bounds, as 2D platform games back then were not developed how they are now. However, what we can do is look behind the scenes, or more specifically behind the layers of the scenes. So as you can see here, I've taken away the foreground layers and it gives us a great view of the entire background layer. But this isn't just useful for looking at pretty background designs. We can also use this to find out a little bit of what's going on behind the scenes. Like for instance, where these ninjas come from when they jump over the side of the boat. Upon completing the game as the sun sets over Wood Oak City after the end credits, we see this police car driving away. However, again by removing the foreground layer, which in this instance happens to be just a black surround, we can find it never really goes too far. So why can't we go out of bounds? Well, take for instance the very end of Streets of Rage 2 Stage 1 boss scene. This is actually the very last pixel you're seeing of the layer. Beyond this, technically nothing really exists. And if we try to go out of bounds here, all you will get is the game becoming very confused, as I guess it's trying to send us back to the first pixel of the layer. The result being all sorts of mixed up textures start appearing and strange things happening. So rather than the game crashing over and over, which it did when I was trying that, it's much safer to peel away the layers and look at the great background designs. Here are some of my favourites. Stage 8 has quite an interesting design, as the sunset is behind the lift at all times. Then if we take away the foreground, it reveals a section of lift under the flooring, which you may never get to see under normal circumstances. And this is also the same when fighting Mr. X, although a slightly different design seems to appear. Alright, so here it is, the latest installment of the series. It is of course Streets of Rage 4, and I can wholeheartedly say this, if you're a fan of the original game, then you will not be disappointed in this one. It is an absolute blast. However, we are here to take a look out of bounds. Now, you may be surprised at just how close you are to being out of bounds right from the very start. In fact, if you try to walk to the left, you are on the boundary of the scenery. So what is out of bounds? Well, just like the original games and most 2D side-scrolling beat-em-ups, the scenery is made up of layers, except of course much more of them. Unlike the original games that had maybe 3 or 4 layers max, this game has more like 20 to 30 depending on the stage we're looking at, and we can remove these one by one until we end up with just a black screen. Some of these layers are even tiny little details, such as the silhouettes inside the bars. To be honest, there wasn't a lot to find in regards to secrets or Easter eggs hidden out of bounds. However, I did find a weird smudge on the end of this layer in the background. Not that you'd see it normally. It also seems for some reason that the tattoo shop at the beginning of the stage has tattoo spelt incorrectly on this particular sign. Whether that was just a mistake or done on purpose, I'm not entirely sure. I wanted to find out where the vehicle comes from that crashes into the wall. If we zoom out from this far away, we can see it loads just below where the camera would normally be. Stage 2 at the police precinct was the only stage I found something hidden out of bounds, and I'm not entirely sure what they are used for. Maybe some unused assets or some sort of trigger. However, they certainly can't be interacted with by our character. detail you may have missed when on the cargo ship is the writing that you can just see the top of on the hull of the ship, which when zoomed out can be read as Mr. X Corp. Another cool little detail we can find after the bar scene at the old pier is if we take a look at the bridge in the background, you can find some graffiti which says Jet was here, referring to a boss featured in Streets of Rage 2, and it's probably no coincidence he was found at the end of the stage whilst on a bridge. One of the developer tricks we've seen used a lot during previous Slipping Out episodes is during the scenes when the player is travelling on a vehicle, it isn't the vehicle itself that moves. Usually it's the scenery or terrain moving past the stationary vehicle and camera, and the same can be said whilst up on top of the Skytrain here. I also wanted to quickly take a look when the barriers we jump over appeared off screen. The lift scene inside White Tower was pretty cool to watch from a distance and see how the background loads into the scene. I also didn't notice until making the video, hidden behind Mr. Y and Miss Y, there is a statue of Mr. X, another nice little detail. Did you ever wonder where the characters go when jumping to the next part of a stage? Well, me too, so here it is just in case you did. Probably the most curious thing I wanted to know about any of the stages was how the aeroplane taking off from the airport works. As you may have guessed, again it's more to do with the background layers than the plane itself, although I have to admit, I was shocked at how far away they do move away from the plane. Coming towards the end now guys, and taking a look at the final scenes, unfortunately I wasn't able to show you where the machine that either of the Y siblings jumps into comes from, as it seems it's part of the layer that removes the battle arena too, which was pretty disappointing, but there's nothing really much more I can do about it. However, ending on a positive note, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have and you're not already a subscriber, then maybe you'd like to subscribe to see future videos as they're released. If you do, just be aware I have recently had some subscribers complaining that I don't appear in the sub box, so if you do, just check the notification bell and check the notification settings as well. and that would be awesome if you could do that. Also, come and join me on the various other platforms listed in the description to keep up to date with what's going on here behind the scenes at Slippy Slides. But until the next one, as always, take care.